It's a real joy to have my friend Sherman Branch with us today on the podcast. I've known Brother Sherman since, boy, I guess 1997 or 8 when I first went to Plymouth, North Carolina as pastor. And I followed him there. And then we have stayed in contact through the years. And a little bit closer now that I've moved back to North Carolina. Brother Sherman, I know most of our listeners are familiar with you, but for those that aren't, why don't you just take a moment and introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your testimony.
My name's Sherman Branch, of course. Been in the ministry, well, answered the call to preach 52 years ago, actually. Been a long time, but excited about what God can and will do with us if we'll just yield ourselves to Him. Grew up in a Christian home. My dad was a pastor. Grew up with mom, dad, seven sisters. No brothers, just me and dad. And he used to say, we believe in congregational government everywhere except at home. But grew up fun. Dad made life fun. And I guess that's where my sense of humor came from because I enjoy smiling. I enjoy laughing and relating to people, even through laughter sometimes. And how we can use that to bring about um, good news to people. Saved early as a teenager, answered the call to preach almost immediately. Went on and did just a little bit of college, and then the rest of the time just spent my time as a youth pastor first, and then pastoring three different churches. The last one we were there for 23 years before retiring to go into songs and night ministry. So
And
that's pretty much.
that kind of leads me to my next question. You like you said, you retired, but you didn't what some people call it. You didn't retire, you refired. But the Lord's led you in a new direction, and you've had the opportunity to share that with our church and some of the churches in the area. But why don't you take a moment and introduce Songs in the Night? We do have a link on our website, by the way, to that if
Great.
anybody's interested in more information. But tell us a little bit about Songs in the Night and what kind of led you into that direction.
Songs in the Night was actually the title itself came from a message that I preached many years ago. Um, I had and it had nothing to do with what I'm doing now. It was just simply, if you're going through a difficult time, maybe if you're battling financial needs, here's maybe a song that can help you. And I just use the songs and name different songs, some out of the hymn book, some wasn't out of the hymn book. And had some folks that responded very positive to that. And so I use that name in what I'm doing now. Uh, in 2022, my wife passed away. Debbie had battled depression for many years, even when we were in Plymouth. She began this journey. And in 2022, on April 2nd, 2022, I came home to find that my wife had taken her own life. And of course, I was devastated. Uh, Took a couple sabbaticals because the church was very gracious and gave me that privilege to take a couple sabbaticals. On that second one, the first one, I was too connected. People could still call me, they could contact me, and I was getting phone calls about church stuff and various things. And so through some counsel, I was encouraged to take a second sabbatical, which the church agreed. Both of those, God was just amazing in how He provided. In both sabbaticals, there were folks who stepped up and paid for the stays that I did, which made it a little easier. On the second sabbatical, I spent more time praying, more time disconnected. The only people who could call then would be my family, and that was only if there was an emergency or just to check in and say, "Hey, how you doing?" When I returned from that second one, I remember the Sunday morning. I walked into Emmanuel Church there in Dallas, North Carolina, or here in Dallas, North Carolina, I should say, and looked down the aisle. No one was there but me. And I said these words, I said them out loud. God, what am I doing here? I don't need to be here. I can't continue ministry without her. And again, through counsel, uh, I, um, I, I felt the Lord leading me to take that story of Debbie's passing and to try to help people that are hurting. And we're certainly all over this world, everywhere I go, and everywhere you go, we meet people that are hurting. And so the Lord has been gracious. He's began opening doors for us as a ministry, not only to speak to our churches, but to step across denominational lines and to go into other areas and preach in those churches as well, and just see God do amazing things. And so that's the ministry we entered into. I did retire from pastorate. I did not retire from ministry. And so we're just uh, trusting the Lord to continue to open doors.
Amen. I appreciate you sharing that. And I know everybody's different, and I know everybody grieves different. Um, Michelle, my wife in particular, has found it very therapeutic for her to talk about our situation and with our daughter and the grief that we've experienced. It's not easy, but
Right.
she finds it to be helpful. Um, and I feel like, and I guess I don't know if you'd agree with me or not, and it's difficult to put into words, but there's a sense of joy that comes when we know that, as terrible as our story is, that God's taking what the enemy meant for evil and is using it for good. Can you relate to that? And if so, share a little bit about the joy that you're experiencing during this chapter in your life.
I definitely relate to that. I say this often when I go to various churches. Would I have chosen this path? The answer is no. I never would have chosen it. Did I choose this ministry? I don't believe so. I believe the Lord chose it for me. Um, what and if I can say this right and it not come across maybe, I don't know, self-serving, do I enjoy sharing the story? My answer to that question is no, I do not. Because each time, as you and Michelle knows also, and other friends of ours that have walked through these kind of paths, no, uh, it hurts. It hurts. Um, and yet, the joy in it is when I get a note like I did from a lady local here after I had presented songs of the night, and I used Psalm 42. Uh, all I knew about that psalm for years, just the first two verses. But then came that time when I got into it. But a lady here, after we had left the church that I was presenting songs of the night at, sent me an email and basically said that her daughter, who had also attempted suicide a few years earlier, had listened to the songs in the night, the personal testimony, and then the Psalms. And she said, my daughter went home from that service, got on her knees, took her Bible, started journaling, which she says I had not seen in a long, long time. And then she said, and she's finding hope again. I like the way she said that. She is finding hope again. because it reminds us it's still a journey. It's not that you get there one time and good, okay, I'm through. I'm past the finish line. No, there's still struggles and there's still pain, but God's still good and He's faithful. So that's the joy of it.
Yeah. I know another part of your heart, just from the conversations we've had and the time we've spent together, is to help pastors and to encourage pastors. You yourself being a pastor, as you mentioned, for many years, and there is a load that pastors carry related to ministry.
Yes,
But
sir.
I think sometimes people forget that we're real people just like they are.
Exactly.
We have marriages and kids and grandkids and struggles and burdens and so there, the Apostle Paul, I think he worded it this way in one of his letters, and he kind of ended what he was saying, and he said, "And the concern of all the churches." Um, for a layperson that may be watching this, um, what would you want them to know about the load pastors carry, and maybe now that you're kind of in a new phase of life where you're still in ministry but no longer pastoring, you're involved in a local church, maybe share a little bit about something that you wish others would know, and how maybe they can be kind of like Aaron and her and hold their pastor's arms up.
Yeah, definitely, Brother Daryl. We tend to uh, as we tend to think pastors are invincible, and we tend to forget that they have needs just like everybody else has needs, including the need for counsel and rest and a time when they can just uh, I- we never leave the ministry, but there's sometimes when we just need, as Jesus told the disciples, come apart and rest a while. They were busy. They were, going through a lot of stuff, and even at one point didn't even have time to eat. They were so busy, and Jesus said, "Come apart, get away from it for a little bit, and rest yourself." And I think it's good for churches, and I'd encourage every church, give your pastor, uh, give him some time away, whether that's one Sunday where maybe he and his family can, attend another church, maybe a friend or something, and sit and absorb instead of just giving out. I think that's the biggest thing. And then too, remember that pastors sometimes feel isolated. They may have friends, they may talk to people, but there's a lot of our men in the ministry that just feel like they're out there by themselves, and the loneliness fuels that struggle for needing somebody to come alongside of them.
One of the things that our burden here at Ray of Hope Ministry Relief is to try to provide um, pulpit supply speakers and things of that nature to be able to give these pastors, a vacation or sabbatical or whatever it may be. Um, and our goal is to network with people like yourself all around the country to be able to say, Brother Sherman's, here's his ministry and here's what he's doing with Songs in the Night, but he's also available for pulpit supply. Um, and our goal, one of the reasons that we're trying to raise support is like if this church is small and they don't have the means to be able to take care of you, we would be able to step in and say, well, we'll take care of Brother Sherman's honorarium. You just give your pastor Sunday off. Let Brother Sherman come in, take care of the service, and we'll take care of you. So we're trying to create that network. But I know that there might be churches that will watch this or pastors that will watch this and say, I think I'd like to give Brother Sherman a call and have him come share songs in the night. Maybe there's other people that are going through similar struggles that you and your wife faced. Who would you say would be the ideal? I don't know if ideal is the right word, but who would you say would be the ideal person or ministry to reach out to you about songs in the night? And then on kind of the second follow up question is, how can we pray for you in your ministry right now?
I appreciate that, Daryl. I I think the thing is that as far as reaching out, anyone can reach out to me. Now, I am not a counselor as far as a licensed counselor, and I tell people that. But even in the ministry that up to this point, there's been about three different ones who have literally reached out through Facebook and just said, "Hey, could we talk a minute?" And I'm thankful for that. Uh, my They can reach me by phone, and my number is 704 813 5557. They certainly can reach me on Facebook Messenger, either Songs in the Night or my personal Facebook page. Be glad to talk with anybody that we can talk with. I think it's important that people reach out. Sometimes we feel like, okay, yeah, I'm struggling, but I can handle this, and that's not always the case. And so, uh, yeah, we'll help in any way we can. Matter of fact, I am excited about Ray of Hope. I really am. And they can reach out to me through that as well. Our website's linked with you guys as well, so we'll be glad to do what we can.
Well, I appreciate that, Brother Sherman. How can we pray for you and your ministry? And if people want to support your ministry, what's the best way to do that?
The simplest way would be, as far as support, would be Tithely. It's on our website, and certainly you can give through that. It's also on our Facebook page, so folks can give through that if they'd like to. As far as prayers, just a couple things. I'm a little concerned with the health issues right now, and I ask the Lord just to, help me, help those that are trying to help me know the right treatments to go, and so that we can be strong. The thing that bothers me the most is my voice is not as strong as it used to be, and I give out easy. And so this is a very emotional ministry. And so by the time it's over, I can say I'm pretty well wore out. So pray for that. Pray God just opens doors. That's the big thing. If you know a pastor or a church that could benefit from Songs in the Night, we certainly will be open to going. I do want to say this because I say it everywhere I go anyway. I do not take a salary. Everything comes into the ministry, goes right back into the ministry until it is well established. I won't take a salary. We pay our expenses, and that's pretty much it. So we do love offerings. Again, you mentioned that a moment ago. There's no charge. Um, we certainly want to help people. Um, there's another way also, and that's refer us to others. If you know a church or a pastor that you think, and it doesn't matter denomination, we're willing to go. And you can give them my that one phone number is everything. It's my ministry number, it's my personal number, and so they can reach me through that.
Well, that's wonderful, brother. I'm excited about how God is using you, and appreciate your friendship and your encouragement. And I'm looking forward to hearing more good things about what God's doing through Songs in the Night. Thank you for being with us today.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me there.